The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Hey, yo, Trevor, okay? This is a personal question, okay? And I'm sorry if I'm crossing the line, but would you talk to your children like Ian Cole just talked to the Vancouver Canucks and his dressing room? Yes, his dressing room. Would you do that?
Hell yeah, man. Those mother...
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Like reality slapping you in the face, and here we are slapping you in the face, metaphorically, of course, here on Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, also a Canucks writer since 2013, currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode on a sunny Thursday, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because guess what? It is your Canucks every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you haven't done so already, show us some love, okay? Do it for the Canucks, and make sure you go like, subscribe, follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, okay? I also got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Game off. We got to talk more about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go now free on Google Play or the App Store. Now, Monopoly Go is one game, but another hell of a game is the game of hockey. And I hope the Canucks are going to be having some fun out there for tomorrow night's game against the Nashville Predators. You got to have fun, and we're going to talk about two guys who, one guy I think is really having fun out there, and that's Arturs Silovs. Another guy who, I mean, he's been in the playoffs year after year after year, and Ian Cole. Those are two subjects of discussion today on Locked On Canucks, and how they can save your Vancouver Canucks, because despite the fact that they're up 3-2, I think, a lot of Canucks fans feeling kind of tentative right now. Maybe we'll also get into some surprise performances. What surprised us so far in the first 5 games between your Vancouver Canucks and Nashville Predators? All that and more coming up. But before we do that, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle. I was surprised to learn that you actually have a 10-inch dong. You keep talking about the small things, but anyways, how's it going, brother?
Whoa, how did you find that out, man? That's a lie, man. That's why you shouldn't read Reddit, man. Again, Reddit, when they talk about Locked On Canucks, they say we have no insight, but we're all emotion. I'll take that, man. Kyle Bell and Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks. Like Beggsy alluded to, hit the like button, man. It helps us out a lot, man. We said we're going to win the cup. If this video gets anywhere from 14 to 147 likes, we're going to win Game 6, okay? Straight up. Also join the Discord, talk Canucks while on the toilet. And man, oh man, the Canucks, man, they have a lot of decisions to make, okay, with their lineup. And once again, between the pipes, man. You know what, bro? The more and more you think about this series, and I know we can get emotional and whatnot and still think about Game 5 and whatnot and blah, blah, blah. Bro, the Canucks have used 3 goaltenders, one of them being Casey DeSmith and one of them being Arturs Silovs, okay? As Trevor gave the people the knowledge. This dude got married when he was 18 years old. Is that true? If that's true, that is maturity,
Yeah,
that is
true.
wisdom, and that is a big reason why I think he should start tomorrow in Nashville, for real. This guy's got the sauce. He's calm, cool, collected, and I think the team feels that, okay? As much as Trevor and I like to think we know the most about the game, right? The players know the most about the game, and I think they can feel that Silovs not only has a higher ceilings, but he has a better grasp for the game in this moment. And now that's saying a lot, because Casey DeSmith was unbelievable in his last start. Casey DeSmith was also unbelievable, right? And I know I'm jumping the gun here, but he was really good against the Edmonton Oilers, right? It kind of connects now. I know. I'm saying a lot, but for some reason, my heart is telling me that you have to go with the guy with the bigger ceiling.
You know what, Kyle? This is a conversation I did not think we'd be having. Which goaltender is going to start for the Vancouver Canucks? It seemed like the most steady position for the Vancouver Canucks. So, again, just looking back over the first 5 games, I find it wild that we're here. Here's something interesting, too. If Arturs Silovs does start Game 6, he will have tied Casey DeSmith in career playoff starts. They would have both had 3. So despite Silovs being 23 years old, DeSmith being 22 years old, they're about the same in terms of playoff experience so far, because Casey DeSmith, again, has not seen the net in the NHL playoffs a lot. And again, he's more than doubled his career playoff starts here. Look, I know the sample size is pretty small here in these playoffs, but Arturs has played two good games. Casey DeSmith has played one good game, although arguably he played the best game of a Canuck goaltender so far. But Kyle, you know what? I know you don't like it when I bring up these deeper stats, but here's one for you, okay? In terms
Okay,
of
bring it
all
up.
goaltenders so far this postseason, and it's a tiny sample size. Okay, Arturs has the third best save percentage at even strength. Only Laurent Brossoit, who played 14 minutes, I don't really count that, and Joe Toronto have been better. Okay, he's only allowed 2 goals on 44 shots at even strength. He stopped all of the high danger shots that he's faced. So again, Casey DeSmith right now, because of that bad game in Nashville, is way down the list. Okay, he's 21st among 25 goaltenders so far in even strength save percentage. Only Cam Talbot, Connor Hellebuck, and Ilya Sorokin are worse. So look, I think we talked about it before, and Arturs Silovs, maturity beyond his years. I mean, this guy, hit puberty and then got married, right? It's kind of unbelievable to think about. Um, last year where he led Latvia to a bronze medal, that was a huge thing for Latvia, right? Like he talked about the pressure kind of being comparable, right? So he's been in these situations before and he excelled in these situations. After that win, after Latvia's first medal, they declared a public holiday. I learned about that this morning when I was doing some research for this show. And also, don't forget that Silovs finished second in voting for the IIHF Male Player of the Year award, only behind Connor Bedard. So,
Damn.
Arturs, he's been in the big moments before. Look, I think there's an argument for both guys to get the net, but based on how things have gone right now, and based on the way Talkit just talks about Silovs, I'm thinking it should be Silovs. Something tells me it's going to be DeSmith, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I thought DeSmith was going to get it in Game 5 if he was healthy enough, and the fact that he backed up makes me think that there's a good chance he plays tomorrow. But man, oh man, I think, we've seen it before and we talked about it, right? When Jim Rutherford wins cups, he wins with some rookie goaltender coming out of nowhere. And so far,
Ooh.
Silovs is looking like he could be that guy.
Man, oh man. So Casey DeSmith, his save percentage is quote unquote not that great at even strength because of maybe some of the action he faced in game 2. The series has felt kind of long, even though it's only been 6 games. You know what I'm saying? Because there's been so many storylines. There's been so many ins and outs, especially with the goaltending, right? And then you got to throw in the invisibility from some of the best. Well, I was going to say some of the best players on the team, but one of the best players on the team. Again, the series is again all over the place. Okay. Anyway, Silovs. I think just based on the fact that he's built a bit of a base over 2 games allows me to believe that the easy choice is to continue riding that momentum, because I think it's a lot easier to go to Casey DeSmith in game 7 if necessary, and if Silovs does look like a rookie, you know what I'm saying? Whereas if you play this the other way around, that's a whole other storyline. And I know that's dark, right? We got a game to play tomorrow. I don't want to talk about game 7, but you kind of get the angle that I'm throwing at you right now.
It's funny. I understand it, but I actually see it the other way, to be honest. I mean, look at, we saw DeSmith come out for game 2, lets in a goal in his first shot after the fans are chanting his name. He did not look comfortable in that game. I know people are saying he was fine. He didn't face a lot of shots. It was a tough environment. I think those things are all true. But every time he touched the puck, to me, he looked nervous. So I think you're probably, if you're thinking about game 6, game 7 potential starters, I think you're actually better off to start DeSmith in game 6. And if you lose, go back to Silovs in game 7. Again, Silovs, especially more recently, has played in the big moments. He played in a game that got his country a medal. Okay. Like that's huge. Latvia's first ever medal in ice hockey. And I know for us, it's like, yeah, world championships, whatever. But that was a huge thing for Latvia. And Silovs was a huge part of that in that tournament. So I think Silovs is better suited for the pressure. Look, I think both DeSmith and Silovs have their pros and cons. Silovs, better rebound control, but a bit more aggressive. DeSmith, not as good with rebounds, but a tad less aggressive. So there's arguments for both guys. But I'm like you, Kyle. I would lean Silovs, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think DeSmith starts game 6.
You know what can happen here, bro? If they do go with DeSmith in game 6 and they win game 6, and let's say Thatcher Demko's still a round away. And now, again, we're jumping ahead of the gun. We're talking about round 2. I'm sorry, but let's just theoretically put this out there, right? If the Canucks press that button and they win, that allows them to open up the door to potentially use a 2 goalie system in round 2. Similar to Swayman, Olmark. It's worked for that team, and maybe they can spread out the pressure that would come in a series against another Canadian team, right? It's an option. It's an option. It really is. Now, this is another option too. Like, maybe it's really important to get DeSmith this game 6 start, because if he does win, he's playing Edmonton, a team that he's beaten twice. Whereas if you go the other way around, he'd be Rusty / the backup, and maybe he has the Oilers number. The options, man. Casey DeSmith and Arturs Silovs, man. Unreal, man. It's, you know what, Trevor? This is the truth. And I heard Thomas Drance say this, right? The Canucks have to do the most to make sure goaltending is not a storyline in tomorrow's game. AKA, all the other guys got to step up. You know what I'm saying? Why are we talking about the guy from Latvia that got married at 18 years old? You know what I'm saying? All the other guys can step up, because we're facing the Nashville Predators. We're facing the Nashville Predators, bro. Like, make this a shootout. You know what I'm saying? Have the offensive guy step up and lead the charge. Bro, we've used 3 goaltenders in the series. Elias Pettersson, wake up, yo. Straight up. Seize the moment. Because literally speaking, this team needs you. Yo, Arturs Silovs needs you. Now, I know this series has been a coin flip series the whole way through. So it kind of is important to talk about goaltending, right? Because that last save does matter. But man, oh man, I cannot be wrong at this point, man. Goaltending cannot be a storyline tomorrow. And yeah, one left to Thomas Drance for making that point, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I think whether we want it to be or not, goaltending is going to be a story. But you're right, Kyle. A lot of this is on the guys in that locker room, the guys playing for your Vancouver Canucks to step up and seal this in Game 6. Let's talk about some of those guys on this side, specifically the veterans, before we get to some of our biggest surprises from these playoffs so far to wrap up the show. But let's talk about the vets on the side. Before we do that, let's shout out our friends at Monopoly Go. More about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. You already, but so much good stuff in this game, okay? Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get, including unique stickers you can trade with a friend to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. And include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent for renties. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on!
People, we back here on Locked On Canucks at the Don't Doze Art Lab. Almost choked up on my words because I was trying to, mimic what Trevor was doing with his Wi-Fi right there, man. You were rapping or mumble rapping or not, giving your best effort to Monopoly Go. Hey, one left to Monopoly Go, okay? Trevor was talking about he wasn't talking about that. He was talking about Monopoly Go, okay? Anyways, Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs doing the most. Trevor Beggs outside in the wilderness doing this episode. We got to be here every day. It is what it is. And we'll fix the issue with the tissue. Speaking of which, how can you get married at 18, bro? 18 years old. That's a lot. If I got married at 18, I'd be miserable. Okay? Only because at that time I was in love with a cheater, So if we were married and I'd fast forward into this moment in my life right now in 2024, bro, I'd probably hire a private investigator at this point, straight up.
Man, it's hey, you and me both, bro. If we married our the gals we were with at 18, we both would have been married to a couple cheaters who ended up going for the tacos instead, So
Holy
man.
Man.
I think it's things worked out for us. Things seem to be worked out for Arturs Silovs too. And I don't know what it is, man, but like Vasily Podkolzin also got married pretty young, like 21 years old. I think one of my Slovak buddies. One of my Slovak buddies is like early 30s with 4 kids. So I mean,
It is
I
what
don't
it
know.
is.
It's,
I'm
it's
not
a good
saying
thing,
don't
man.
do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I said I just wouldn't do it because,
Mhm.
my eyes weren't working. Love at first sight. Somebody can nail it. These guys nailed it 1-for-1. I wish I was that lucky, but it is what it is. Actually, I don't wish I was that lucky. Everything times out, rightfully so. Okay. Speaking of which, Ian Cole talking about the Canucks needing to, understand this, right? You can't control ish, especially in the playoffs in the NHL, right? You need to look forward to every series being a 7-game series. You don't need to put it out in the universe that you don't want to travel anymore and that you need to, you know, save airtime and your air miles. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of that rhetoric was coming out of not only the fans and not only podcasters like you and I, because, we were on the boat and we were trying to defend this team and trying to make sure that they got as much rest as needed prior to round 2. But some of the players were alluding to the fact, too, that it was really important for us to win game 5 because we need to stay home. We need to rest up. We don't want to travel for 8 more hours. And I don't know if you have the quote in front of you, but man, oh man, what did Ian Cole say about that type of motto, that type of energy going into the playoffs?
All right. So again, this guy is, one of the most wily playoff vets in the NHL right now. I believe it's now over 120 games of NHL playoff experience. Certainly tops in the Canucks. But here's what he said. He said, "You need to prepare like you're going to play 7 games every single series, whether we want to get on the plane or not. That's just kind of a prima donna attitude. That's bull bleep. Just go and win the freaking game. That's all that matters." Now, the interesting thing about this quote to me is that JT Miller had said to reporters that, this win was huge because it saved us, 8.5 hours of flying time or whatever it was, right? So, and, maybe Miller's just looking for motivation. I don't read too much into it because, my initial thought was that when Cole said this, he's taking a shot at Miller here, but I don't really think that's the case. I think Miller said that to the media kind of, again, trying to motivate his guys, saying, like, this is why we did this. This is a good thing. Let's go wrap this up in 5. Obviously, that didn't happen. But, at the end of the day, these guys are not riding the bus in the AHL. They're flying first class. And, I've read in interviews, guys like Dakota Joshua don't like flying. But, at the end of the day, these guys living a pretty blessed life. And, yeah, I mean, Ian Cole's
Well,
right, though. Ian Cole's right. You got to prepare like you're going to play 7 games every series. You can't take anything for granted. And if anyone knows it on this team, it's Ian Cole.
well, dude, why would you want to, I could see why players here in Vancouver wouldn't want to fly as much because it's pretty beautiful out here. If there was an opportunity to stay a couple days and have a couple quote unquote day offs, like you'll take it, right? That being said, let's talk about the fans. Let's talk about you and I as well. We haven't been in the playoffs in a long time, and here we were, not just thinking, but demanding that this team would win it in 5 games, knowing that this team's also a team full of rookies in the playoffs. Like, they weren't going to win this in 5 games. You know what I'm saying? They weren't.
Yeah.
That's it. When you win a series in 5 games, it's like you kind of dominated. You know what I'm saying? And you're a tier above those other teams. So I think the energy that we were even given, being put on top of what like Miller was saying as well, kind of connects this point, right? We're just not used to this. We're just not used to the playoffs because that was the first time in my hockey viewing career / fandom for the Vancouver Canucks where I was so adamant and so invested in a team winning in 5 games because they needed rest. Because they didn't want to, I didn't want these guys to travel and take a 6-hour flight or whatever. You know what I'm saying? On a charter, on a first class private jet. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've been back in the playoffs. And I think some of that energy and that inexperience was getting to a guy like Ian Cole. Because he's like, what are you guys talking about? This is NHL playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like I love that energy, and it's good energy for us moving forward, in this year's playoffs because we go into the cup and just in future playoffs as well, right? You got to expect every series to go to 7 games.
Yeah, 100%. And, we talked about off the top, there was, half this roster had never really played in a real playoff game aside from the COVID bubble. And, I don't want to say that inexperience is shown, but it has shown to an extent, especially some of the guys like
It's
Pedersen
shown.
and Höglander.
It's shown.
It hasn't shown for a guy like Arturs Silovs, surprisingly enough,
Nope.
but for some of the guys in this team, it's shown. But again, that's why when you're Jim Rutherford and you're Patrick Allvin, you go out and get these veterans. And that's something that Jim Benning just never timed well. He was, stockpiling veterans when this team was nowhere close to even contending. but and he signed the wrong veterans who weren't very good at playing hockey. That's the other thing too. But with Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford, you need veterans on your team. You really do.
Mhm.
And you look at this team now. I think Ian Cole was. We talked about some of the best signings on this team. Ian Cole was one of the best signings of the offseason. And we talked about him yesterday, pumping his tires about how good this guy's been on the penalty kill, how much of a factor he's been in this series. Again, Ian Cole, to me, we might not see much of it publicly, but certainly behind closed doors, I think Ian Cole and Nikita Zadorov are two guys who are really crucial in that locker room for keeping things light, but also keeping things honest with the guys.
Yeah, and Trevor, I'm not trying to do this too much because we got to live in the moment. But as a sports fan, it's kind of hard not to look forward to things like next year. But I could see this defensive unit, if given the opportunity to stick together for years to come, really turn into something special because of the characters and this certain skill set that is shared within all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like there seems to be a level of like charismatic nature within that group, accountability, potential growth. Because you got a guy like Ian Cole who's been there, and then you got a bunch of guys who haven't. There just seems to be an opportunity here for something special to be built, or something special to be seen for at least like 2 more years. I hear a lot of conversation about Zadorov or Hronek, right? One or the other. Right. And, you got to keep in mind that Ian Cole is a UFA at the end of the season. So, in theory, things could be a lot different in 4 months. And I kind of don't want that to happen at all. If there's a way for this team to keep everyone on the back end, they got to do it. Now, on that note, can they keep everyone on the back end and also sign Dakota Joshua? I don't think so.
No. And the thing, I'll say 2 things on that quick. I would say something special is already brewing right now. And I know what you're talking about in terms of the long run. There could be something special there. There's something special with this D-core right now. This is one of the best defensive cores in hockey. This defensive core has come so far from where they were 12 months ago. It's honestly hard to believe. But my cautionary tale about that is you got Ian Cole who's 34. Tyler Myers is one of the oldest guys in this team as well. You got some guys who are getting up there in age. So, I think, that quartet of Hughes, Hronek, Soucy, and Zadorov, that's intriguing. That's something to build around. Guys like Cole and Myers, I think you probably keep one of them instead of both of them.
Okay.
But again, we'll talk about that in the summer.
Who would you rather have? Who would you rather have? One or the other? I'd take an Ian Cole because when you have a guy like that who can speak up and also has been a winner, this organization, historically speaking, has not had this many winners in an organization, right? Rutherford, Allvin, Rick Tocchet, Adam Foote, Ian Cole, Teddy Bluger. Like, there's some championship pedigree here. They got to keep as much of that in there. And Tyler Myers is not a champion. It's just the truth. And now you have Ian Cole speaking the truth. Now, I don't know how that connected with the locker room when that quote came out, but I hope that nobody was offended by it, because just as a fan, and it's completely different. I'm not an NHL player. I'm not a Vancouver Canuck, but it taught me a lesson. You know what I'm saying? It really did. And his communication is key. It really is. This is still a very young team, and his ability to translate messages to the media and the fan base, especially here on the West Coast, the best coast of Canada, is really important. Now, what else is really important is this as well, right? This comment from Kurt Richardson. A huge shout out to Adam Foote. What he's done with the defense is remarkable. That's a key point, right? Because I'm over here spending millions on keeping everyone together when another option is, pushing Adam Foote to make do with what he's got, and who may not be coming back next season.
Yeah, straight up. Foote has done a remarkable job, and I almost wish I was able to take a picture of it, but there was one shot, I think it was game 4 on the road, where camera pans to Adam Foote before commercial break, and I think all 5 of the defensemen with Quinn Hughes on the ice, like, all huddled around him. It was like a Jesus and the disciples kind of moment for me. But anyways, I digress. Let's wrap up the show on the other side. Maybe check out what surprised us in terms of what we haven't talked about today so far through 5 games with your Vancouver Canucks. Get to a few comments as well. Before we do that, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Only one NHL game tonight, Kyle. The Boston Bruins, the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Boston Bruins are slight favorites to close it out on the road. Kyle, what do you think is going to happen tonight?
I don't give a beat. Come on, Trevor. Okay, I got books
You
to
must
read.
have an opinion, man.
No,
Throw
bro.
guess.
They're not even in my conference, bro. I don't even care, bro. I don't even care. I'm putting my energy into the Canucks. I spent a lot of time being pessimistic yesterday. Go Canucks, go. Go Canucks, go. Go Canucks, go. Okay, Begsy, stop asking me dumb questions, man.
You're hilarious, man. Okay, well, I do hate both teams, but I'm going to say Toronto pushed it to 7 games for the sake of entertainment, man. Let's go. I love a game 7 because I love the game of hockey. If you love the game of hockey, make sure you go, check out the bets on FanDuel. See if you can make a little money, okay? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver.
Whoa.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
Okay. Apologies for the technical difficulties there. It is what it is, okay? It's 9:30 a.m. I'm 30 and a half years old. I'm getting up there in age. Sometimes, I do different things. You know how you get older and, you forget how to use the remote? I feel as if that's happening in this thing called my life. Anyways, Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bauman, Locked On Canucks. Hit the subscribe button and the like button. It really does help us out a lot. Straight up. Join the Discord as well. Talk Canucks while on the toilet. And on the Discord last night, man, it happened, man. Ref Trev, okay? Kempner Canucks, okay? The most positive dude on the West Coast, the best coast of Canada. I asked him to make a pump-up video, okay? Because back in September, when everyone was pissed off that PDG was a second-line winger in a season that really mattered because we had to sign Elias Pettersson, nobody believed in this team. But there was Kempner, right? Putting that out there on the universe, on the internet, saying the Canucks are going to be just fine. And look at us. It's May the 2nd. We got a game tomorrow. Game 6. We can eliminate the Nashville Predators if all things go well and Pettersson wakes up and we'll be playing the Oilers in round 2. Okay? Dreams do come true if you are positive and hopeful. Okay? Anyways, Beggsy, you gotta do this, okay? You're trying to be positive, right? You're trying to be happy. The sun is shining. And you want to talk about some surprise performances. Now, when you say the word surprise in this series, I can't help myself but be a little pessimistic, okay? And more on that in a couple of minutes, but I'm going to let you take the floor because the sun is shining, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to say for my surprise performance in these playoffs so far, and there's been a few, but I'm going to keep it positive and shout out the penalty kill quickly. The Canucks penalty kill, which was, trending upwards over the second half of the season, the Canucks penalty kill has been so fantastic in this series. And I know that the Nashville Predators finally got a power play goal with that controversial goal interference that, maybe probably should have been challenged. But in general, they've really shut down Nashville on the power play for the most part. And again, this is a Nashville power play. We'd all talk about, it's just the Nashville Predators, blah, blah, blah. They're a middling team. Yeah, maybe some of that's true. But they also had the second best power play in the NHL from the All-Star break onwards. Only the Washington Capitals had a better power play than the Nashville Predators, who are clicking at about a little under 27%. And again, the Canucks have come in here and they've frustrated Nashville in terms of their zone entries. I think they haven't allowed too much. There's been a power play or two where they've looked dangerous, but for the most part, this Canucks penalty kill has done a fantastic job. And hey, a shout out to Mike Yeo and Adam Foote on that one for getting the boys prepared for this one. So that surprised me a bit. Not that I didn't think the Canucks penalty kill was good, but that they've been this effective against a power play that was that hot down the stretch.
Yeah, as you say that, Trevor, I was going to sprinkle in a lot of praise for the goaltending on the penalty killing, but I feel as if it's been like 10% of the execution. Straight up. Even if you look at the last game, I know they scored a power play goal that shouldn't have counted. I mean, Rick Tocchet is still losing sleep over that, for real. But prior to that goal going in, the Canucks were just giving Nashville nothing. Not even any shots on goal. Silovs didn't even have to be in net. If the Canucks had an empty net on those penalty kills, they still would have killed the penalties. Straight up. So you're right. That's been surprising. That being said, I don't know outside of Silovs and Zadorov how much more individual surprising performances in the positive realm I've actually seen, to be honest. Like we're talking about a team that has a Norris caliber defenseman. He just got nominated. When we see Quinn Hughes put up 5 assists in 5 games or whatever, it's like, okay, cool. You're doing great. you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. We've been seeing that all year. You know what I'm saying? But after that, you're kind of like, okay, Brock Besser, hat trick, 2 goals in 2 games in which he scored goals in this series. Okay, cool. You know, even kill. Okay, it is what it is. That being said, I got to bring this up. Okay, look at this comment from Callum. Okay, we can do just fine without Hronek. Zadorov is a unique talent. Again, Zadorov deserves some positive praise, but how surprising is this? Philip Hronek. I think if my ears were working, I was listening to Halford and Bruff this morning. He has 3 shots on net in this series. He's -5, or is he -3? I think he's -3. He has no points. He has no points in 5 games. This is also a guy who had 48 points in the regular season, but hey, I feel as if he's had 13 points in his last 50 games. You get what I'm saying? So I am definitely surprised that a player that is playing for a contract that rejected a $52 million extension or whatever the number was is coming out, I wouldn't necessarily say flat, but not more eager to make an impact on this series. Again, this guy's probably had the most opportunities out of any player in this series to take shots on net. And there he is being reluctant and trying to make a Sedin-esque slap pass type of play only. It's been surprising to see a guy like Philip Hronek not just fall within the power rankings of the fan base, but just decline as the seasons went on.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it right now, so in Philip Hronek's last 44 games, including regular season and playoffs, goals and 12 points.
Trevor, you got to say that again.
So
You cut
again,
out. You cut out. Can you say that again?
Oh, yeah. So in Philip Hronek's last 44 games, including regular season and playoffs, he has 2 goals and 12 points and is a +1.
Holy.
Again, this guy did most of his damage in the first half of the season when him and Quinn Hughes, they were playing well, but they were also riding a bit of a PDO wave. I think Philip Hronek in December had a PDO of like 107, right? So, he has skills. Like, we've seen it, right? He can be a good playmaker. He moves the puck up the ice well. But I also feel like the luck aspect of it is gone a bit. But he just tends to be when he gets the puck at the point, just firing, either just makes a simple play down the boards, which is fine, or he's firing pucks into shin pads a la Alex Edler did. I'm not seeing the same creativity. Look, I think Philip Hronek, his battle level is good. His skating's good. I think he wins, or he's good in the defensive zone. But again, we're not seeing a guy who's supposed to be making $7 million plus. That's for sure.
Yeah, just surprised, man. Because again, if you're going to reject a contract like that and then come out flat like this, either you're injured or you're just in your head, man. It's been disappointing, to say the least, real talk, because going into this postseason, and we're still here, we're up 3-2. Things are going well. I would just assume that those guys who are in need of a contract would bring their game up to the next level. Okay. Speaking of which, look at this comment from Michael Pearson. We're going to end on this note as well. And this surprises me as well, right? Dakota Joshua has been a ghost other than the first game. He also has taken 2 penalties that have really cost him. I wouldn't be backing up the Brinks truck for him. Look, I'm not going to say he's been a ghost because, you look at game 4. I know the whole team was invisible up until the 3-minute mark of the third period, but he was there in part with that Lindholm goal in overtime, right? There's things happening. He's still only Dakota Joshua. He's still only a third-line player. You know what I'm saying? Still doing his thing. That being said, the chemistry between him and Garland, or the execution between him and Garland, has not been evident / powerful in this series. And the pressure shouldn't be entirely on them to find their game. But man, oh man, when Pettersson is still invisible, this team desperately needs that jolt. And this has me going back to the importance of having Bluger back between them. We're talking about the jolt. We're talking about the lifeline. I think those two need that. I really do.
Yeah, again, this team can't really afford to have multiple guys not going offensively. And, at the end of the day, someone's got to step up if they're going to win this series, right? And I still believe they're going to win the series. I said Canucks in 6. I'm sticking to Canucks in 6. And in terms of Dakota Joshua as well, I thought that line had a good games 1 and 2. And I think they've offensively been really quiet the last 3 games, aside from the OT winner in game 4. So, Dakota Joshua is also one of those guys too, who's in his first taste of the NHL postseason. He's still physically making an impact. He took out Spencer Stastny in game 3. That guy has not returned. So, I'm believing in Big Dak to get it done for your Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks are going to get it done, okay, on Friday. We're going to preview Game 6 on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Canucks, but for now, we got to get out of here. Shout out to the everydayers, occasional listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live show on YouTube. Doesn't matter if you join us live or you listen after the fact on podcast platforms. We appreciate you for tuning in to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Kyle, anything to say to the people before we get out of here?
Oh, take care. Get out in the sun. Hope for the best. You know, I think, like, again, the hangover from Game 5 should be erased. And we should just be looking forward to Game 6, okay? Let's believe in our third-string goalie and our third-line wingers to help us win this game. Oh, my God, dude.
Locked On Canucks, baby.
Man, oh, man. Go Canucks, go.